Hi everyone. So you've done tenths so well this week, and I think you've nailed it. We are going to now have a go at doing hundredths. Now, I know you can all do this, so don't be too worried. This is going to be very simple now that you really do understand what tenths are. So, what is a hundredth? Well, if we have a think about our tenths and how we divide it into 10 pieces in a pie, it'd be the same thing as dividing a pie into 100 pieces. Okay, so that's hundredths. All right, so they're a lot smaller pieces, as you can see. The tenths ones were a lot fatter. Now, when we're putting a number like hundredths into a table, you would only put one number in each box. So just like say we were doing, and I'm going to have to get out of this so I can type in it. If I said 362. Now, if I was to write this in my columns here, just 362, I could only have one number in each column. So 362. Or if I was doing 76, I could only have one number in each column. So I would have 7 tens and 6 ones. Now, the same thing applies for this side of the table. If I'm doing hundredths, then I need to use the tens column or the tenths column and the hundredths column. So say that I had 0 and 62 hundredths. Okay, I would write it like this: 0, my decimal point is and 62 hundredths. So I can't do this because that would have two numbers in a column. I can only have one number. So you'd have 6 and a 2 to make 62 hundredths. Okay, so we know it's hundredths, and I'm going to just take this out of being highlighted so it doesn't confuse us. So we know that if there are two numbers here, we read it as hundredths as the last number. If I didn't have a number here, then because 6 is my last number, I would read it as tenths. I hope this is starting to make sense. If not, maybe just pause it and have a little think about that for a moment. All right, so we'll go back to 0 and 62 hundredths. What if, and that would mean I would have 62 pieces of my pie coloured in. Now, what if I had 0 and 21 hundredths? How would I write that in here? I would start with a 0 and 21 hundredths. So that's how I would write my number. Let's do another one. 0 and 34 hundredths. So I would have a 0, my decimal point, and then a 34 hundredths. I want you to have a go of the next ones, okay? So have a piece of paper there and a pen, and I want you to write these down. You don't have to write them in columns. You could just write it like this on your screen. On your piece of paper. So it might just look like this. So say if it was 0 and 34 hundredths, that would be your decimal there. Okay? So just write it on your piece of paper like that. It doesn't have to be in columns at this point. So have a go with this one. Can you please write for me 0 and 73 hundredths? 0 and 73 hundredths. Okay. So I would write it like this. Let's check it. 0 and 73 hundredths. If your number looked like this, you would be correct. Well done. So if you had a 0 and 73, That's what it would look like there. 0 and 73 hundredths. All right, let's have another go. 0 and 24 hundredths. 0 and 24 hundredths. Have a go. All right. So it would be 0 and 24 hundredths. Or if you weren't doing it in your table, it would look something like this. 0 and 24 hundredths. Are you starting to see a pattern of how we write it? Okay, let's do 2 more. All right, now we're going to do 0 and 13 hundredths. 0 and 13 hundredths. Have a go at writing it. So if I was just to write it on my piece of paper, it would look like this, 0 and 13 hundredths. If I was to put it on my table, it'd be 0 and 13 hundredths. Last number. Let's do one where we have a whole number in it as well. Now I want you to write 2 and 47 hundredths. 2 and 47 hundredths. So if I was to do a whole number, it would be 2 and 47 hundredths. Let's write it in my table. It'd be 2 and 47 hundredths. Excellent. All right. On the next slide, I am going to be giving you some numbers to have a go of again, and I want you to write them down. If you could even post a picture of your numbers there so I can see them as well, that would be awesome. Okay, so do that one, and then I have one more video to show you before the end of today's lesson.